Medical evidence is king and can even counter a medical opinion. Something I really want you to listen here is the word evidence. When you submit a VA claim, you are going against law and policy. And from a legal perspective, your evidence will make or break your claim. Keep in mind that with medical evidence, some carries a more legal weight than others. Here's an example. A lay statement or buddy statement from one of your friends or your spouse will not outweigh the opinion of a medical doctor. In the same sense, a medical doctor could have a negative opinion about your claim. However, your medical evidence could carry more weight, and we'll get into that later. Let's start with what is considered medical evidence. Medical evidence is your service treatment records, your medical records from when you were in service. It's also your private healthcare records, your dental records, your behavioral health records. A DD-214 could be medical evidence. Anytime you schedule an appointment with your VA primary care doctor or your psychologist or your psych, or you saw the VA for anything, all of that is considered medical evidence. A lay statement or a buddy statement, that's medical evidence. A Nexus letter, which is an opinion from a medical doctor, that is considered medical evidence. All of those things are medical evidence, and some carry more weight than others. This is super important, so listen very carefully. If you have little medical evidence or no medical evidence and you submit a VA claim, and for some reason you make it to the point that the VA schedules you a CNP exam, that CNP examiner's comments and their opinion, it's going to carry a very, very heavy weight on the VA's rater's decision. So if you submit a claim with little to no medical evidence, you're really relying on that CNP examiner's exam. One of my very close friends experienced this, and I have his permission to share this story with you. His medical evidence was solid. He had multiple visits to his VA primary care. He was prescribed medicine. He got on a treatment plan. He had x-rays done, the whole nine. When he submitted a claim and then was told to attend the CNP exam, after that exam, he came back and told me that he did not feel like his examiner put the time and effort into his CNP exam. Honestly, he told me that he felt like his claim was doomed and there's nothing that he could do. Hear me out. There are absolutely bad CNP exams out there. Fast forward, he was actually awarded his claim, and that claim had a very high percentage tied to it. Once he was awarded, he wanted to see which were static and which were not, so he went ahead and requested his C file. Months went by, he ended up getting his C file, and it turns out during that CNP exam, that examiner's comments were pretty negative regarding that specific claim. But because his medical evidence was so solid, the VA rater definitely considered the opinion of the CNP examiner, no doubt. However, that VA rater was forced to also consider all the other medical evidence, which pointed to a different story. The VA rater is bound by law and policy when making decisions, so that VA rater had no other choice but to consider that medical evidence that had a very strong weight tied to it. If you submit a claim with little to no medical evidence, I would argue that it would be more beneficial for you to hold off. Go ahead and submit the intent to file, but hold off on submitting that claim. Go to your VA primary care, talk about your symptoms, talk about what's happening, build some medical evidence so that way when you submit that claim, you have medical evidence in support of that specific claim, and you'll have a better shot at being awarded that claim. It is my opinion to hold off on the Nexus letter. I have personally used the Nexus to combat a VA's decision and use it during a supplemental claim, meaning I had more evidence. But you can absolutely submit a Nexus up front with your claim. It's really your call, and it really boils down to what strategy do you have when you're submitting your VA claims. Card up in the top for having a strategy when submitting VA claims. When you do submit that claim, most of the VA's time is spent gathering evidence. Did you know that you can just give them the evidence right then and there? This is the only thing on our end that we can do that will actually speed up the VA claims process. This is also known as a fully developed claim, and guess what? If the VA determines that they need more evidence, not a big deal, your claim just becomes a standard claim. But at least they have the evidence up front, and that's still going to alleviate a lot of time being spent trying to go through your medical records and finding the evidence themselves. If you see value in this video, give CIVDIV a like and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on all things veteran benefits. The more likes we get, the more veterans that will be able to reap the benefits. Help me, help you, help other veterans. CIVDIV is not a claims consulting company. I'm just some dude in his basement genuinely trying to help veterans. This is Clay Sims with CIVDIV, and thank you for your time. We got sweet tea today.